Build professional skills this semester with Adobe Creative Cloud and create standout work both in and out of the classroom. Save big on professional creativity tools. Students get 65% off Adobe Creative Cloud, including Photoshop, Illustrator, Premiere Pro, Acrobat Pro, and 20+ creative apps. No matter what project you're working on, Adobe Creative Cloud apps can help you take it to the next level. Visit adobe.com/student to learn more.
It's The Other Side of Midnight with Frank Morano.
Dee Dee Sharp singing Mashed Potato Time. I'm a mashed potato fan myself. I mean, who doesn't like mashed potatoes, right? Isn't that the thing people really get excited about on Thanksgiving? Who's getting excited about turkey, right? Is anyone getting excited about turnips or green bean casserole? No! You got mashed potatoes, you got stuffing. So, we spent a lot of time around Columbus Day in the areas where it's still called Columbus Day, talking about how Columbus had changed the world. And I pointed out that prior to Columbus and his voyages to North America, there were no tomatoes in Italy, which people have a tough time imagining. There was no chocolate in Switzerland. There were no oranges in Florida. The whole world changed because of Columbus. Well, not directly or indirectly. But of all the things that were exchanged between the old world and the new world after Columbus's voyages, one of the least glamorous, and this is how Semaphore chronicled this, and this is how I first discovered the article I'm about to share with you, one of the least glamorous is probably the potato. However, I read a phenomenal Substack piece called The Potato and the Modern World. And in it, economic historian Nicholas Decker makes the case that while the potato may not exactly be glamorous, it is among the most important things to ever happen. You see, before its arrival from North America, Europeans lived largely off grains. So what's the big deal? Going from grains to potatoes? Isn't it one white food for another white food? Here to tell us is Nicholas Decker himself. Mr. Decker, it is great to have you on the program. Thanks for joining me.
Hello. Yeah, I'm a PhD student at George Mason University. I'm getting a PhD in economics, and this is the sort of thing that I'm very interested in, obviously.
Yeah, that's why I called you Mr. Decker instead of Dr. Decker. The next time we speak, I'm hoping I can call you Dr. Decker.
That he wouldn't be speaking for me for another 3 years.
Hey, I can wait. All right. So you have this paper called. You have this article.
I wrote about a paper.
Yeah, you have this article on Substack called "The Potato and the Modern World: How the Potato Led to Modern Urbanization." That's a pretty bold claim. At 30 minutes after the hour, by the way, this is The Other Side of Midnight. How did the potato lead to modern urbanization?
So the potato requires much less land for an equivalent amount of calories, and it's also more efficient in terms of like labor, calories in and then calories out. So you can sustain more people off of a given parcel of land. Now, obviously, a lot of the advantage is taken away because it's harder to dig it up than it is to thresh wheat. But I have some figures that it's like you would get for out of 1 acre of land, you'd get 31,000 megajoules from potatoes, and you'd only get like 9,000 from wheat, right? And you need about 42, roughly 2,000 calories or like 2,500 calories, because we're going to assume you're very active. Certainly, farmers were very active. So the potato comes over from the New World, and places adopt it, and the instrument, and so I should explain what an instrument is in this sense. It's an instrumental variable. It is something that is unrelated to other to your outcome variable. It's unrelated directly, but it affects the uptake of the variable you're interested in this case, the potato, right? So the potato comes to Europe. It's adopted in places that are suitable climatically for it. It is not adopted in places that aren't. And so you have plausibly exogenous variation. And so what the authors of Nunn and Quan, Nathan Nunn is he was at Harvard at the time. Now he's at University of British Columbia because he wanted to go back home. He might, I'd say he has a 20% chance of winning the Nobel within the next 20 years, by the way. And Quan is at Northwestern right now. They use that. They use like a small grid cell of climatic suitability for the potato, and they find that they can explain, I think it's like about 25% of urbanization in Europe is due to the potato.
Wow, my goodness. I never would have imagined that. Now, in doing your research, Nick, was there any surprising or unexpected findings about the potato that even you didn't expect to discover?
Gosh, that's actually a tough question for me to answer, because I read the paper about 3 years ago now, in junior year of college. I took an economic history class that was on the syllabus. I thought, boy, this was really cool. And so, later I'm thinking of like things to write about, and oh wait, this is a really cool paper. More people should hear about this. They have another paper attempting to figure out. This only made it to the working paper stage. It's not published and never will be. Of like trying to figure out the effect of the potato on violence, because it surely has some impact. One of the advantages of the potato for the point of view of the farmer is that it's much harder to steal. You have to be there as it is dug up.
So the potato actually reduces violence?
On the other hand, that's one mechanism that it could reduce it, right? It means that it's less profitable to raid. On the other hand, if you have more people, you can have bigger armies, right? You have more organized states, right? So it's ambiguous which direction. And the trouble is this is one of the problems of economic history, is that our data is not necessarily so great, right? So they have an index of in this working paper, they have an index of battles, but battles vary in size, and we don't really know how big battles in the 1400s were.
Got it.
Right?
If you're just tuning in, this is The Other Side of Midnight. I'm Frank Morano. We're talking with Nicholas Decker. He's a PhD student, economic historian, who has spent a lot of time researching the potato in this Substack piece, which I'm going to link to on my Facebook page. People can check it out, facebook.com/Morano fan. You mentioned that Europe and China's political trajectories were shaped by their crops. Is there any modern parallels today where agriculture still quietly influences geopolitics? I know a lot of people are into quinoa these days. Is that transforming any countries?
Quinoa, I'm doubtful. Let me see. I feel like I should lump agriculture, like specifically which crops, into a bigger subsection of geography, right? Because like the local conditions of the land determine which crops you're able to plant. I cannot think of any specific examples where it's the crops per se in the present day that are like anything peculiar to the crops. If anyone has, some political scientist has done work comparing, Kansas and Nebraska, or corn and wheat or whatnot.
Gotcha.
That might be a thing, but. No, but geography definitely is, right. So you would expect like more mountainous regions tend to have like more polities, more states within them, because it's harder to unite when you have to invade across mountain ranges, as Switzerland would, very happily point out. Nunn, and he wrote a series of 3 papers on this. One alone, one with Swen Keachin, who's I think he's at Brown. Anyway, looking at the long run effects of the slave trade in Africa, and one of them is using the ruggedness of terrain as an instrument, because it's easier to run away from somebody trying to enslave you in mountainous regions than on the plains, right?
Makes sense. Yeah.
And so what he finds is that, first, trust is lower in places that are, less rugged than more rugged. And secondly, when those people immigrate to different regions within Africa, they bring their cultural attitudes of trust with them, right? And the culture can be persistent over time. And obviously, trust is incredibly important for economic development. I think it goes, but I want to emphasize trust as being like really important.
Yeah.
Because it goes deeper than just like, I could leave my bike out. It's not going to get stolen, right? There is no way for 2 parties to come to a contract that is so perfect that it it stamps out any opportunistic behavior, right? That might screw the other one over, right? You have to believe that the other person is going to do the right thing, even if you cannot specify a contractual mechanism to do that, right? So, like, you can think of if management and the union trust each other, they can get to a much better outcome than if they don't trust each other and they're going to quarrel over slim pickings rather than letting it fall where it may.
No, I understand that. Going back to the potato for a second, if we can, let's imagine a world without the potato. What do you think the urban landscape would look like today if this crop hadn't become so widespread in Europe?
I think Germany's less populated. And I'll try not to get too specific in the counterfactuals, but because it gets more and more speculative as time goes on from the event, right? There's a really great, by the way, you should look this up. Columbus and the Voyage of Columbus and American Economic Growth, which is a rare humor article. Asking the question of, what would happen if instead of finding America, Christopher Columbus fell off the edge of the earth and, absurd consequences. He's parodying Vogel. Anyway, I'd imagine that Germany is less populated. Ireland also less populated, although people were leaving Ireland either way. But mainly, I would expect that the 30 Years' War is considerably less intense, and Protestantism gets off the ground because that happens before the potato gets really taken up in earnest. He sails over in 1492. Reformation is 1521, and that's really fundamentally about the printing press, by the way. If you want an angle, and if you want another interview, right, the printing press was the first social media.
Yeah,
and what you immediately got was political polarization, and civil conflict, and quite a lot of very, nasty religious feelings.
Yeah, no doubt. It's difficult to see Martin Luther taking off if he had to hand copy all those theses. That's for sure. Your comparison of European knights to Chinese armies, where knights were the luxury good, is fascinating. If knights were the luxury good of warfare, what would you say is the luxury vegetable of history?
Rhubarb?
Rhubarb, I like that. That's pretty good.
I have no idea. That part was pure speculation. I'm trying to write a paper on that, actually.
Fellas, you know Degree Cool Rush deodorant, right? Well, last year they changed the formula, and guys were mad about it. One dude even started a petition. So guess what? Degree heard us, admitted they messed up, and brought the original Cool Rush scent back exactly how it was. And it's in Walmart, Target, and other stores now for under $4. So grab some and remember why its cool, crisp, and fresh scent made it the #1 men's antiperspirant for the last decade. Degree Cool Rush is back, and it smells like victory for all of us.
Shopping is hard, right? But I found a better way. Stitch Fix online personal styling makes it easy. I just give my stylist my size, style, and budget preferences. I order boxes when I want and how I want. No subscription required. And he sends just for me pieces, plus outfit recommendations and styling tips. I keep what works and send back the rest. It's so easy. Make style easy. Get started today at stitchfix.com/Spotify. That's stitchfix.com/Spotify.
Halliday presents, in the red corner, the undisputed, undefeated Weed Whacker Guy. Champion of hurling grass and pollen everywhere. And in the blue corner, the challenger, extra strength Halliday. Eye drops that work all day to prevent the release of histamines that cause itchy allergy eyes. And the winner by knockout is Halliday. Halliday, bring it on.
Get ready for Universal Epic Universe, featuring the wizarding world of Harry Potter, Ministry of Magic, and Super Nintendo World. Now open at Universal Orlando Resort. Tickets and packages on sale now at universalorlando.com.
Yeah, I think that's great. Hey, lastly, Nicholas, and we've been talking with Nicholas Decker. I do recommend that people check out his Substack, and including this piece, "The Potato and the Modern World: How the Potato Led to Modern Urbanization." If in the article you explore the impressive nutrient density of potatoes in a survival scenario, what's the one vegetable you'd take to a desert island? Would it still be the potato, or is it something else?
I would absolutely be the potato. Yeah.
Really? I got this question.
Because it's so uncomplicated to seed. You literally cut up the potato and put it in the ground, and that's it. It is the Crusonia plant. If you're going to borrow Frank Knight, explication of this is way too much of a tangent. Sorry. Point is, right, it grows from itself. It's incredibly simple to use. You can get all the nutrients that you need from potatoes and milk.
Outstanding. That's the one. Well, I got this question from a listener last Friday, and I said if I could only have one vegetable for the remainder of my days, it would be spinach. Now, because of your article and this conversation, I'm changing my answer to potato. Nicholas Decker, thank you so much. Thanks for the great work you've done here.
Thank you.
For joining us last minute as well. Appreciate it. I do recommend checking out in the Something to Consider Substack, "The Potato and the Modern World: How the Potato Led to Modern Urbanization." If you want to comment, you certainly can do so at 646-720-0635. That's 646-720-0635. This is The Other Side of Midnight. Straight ahead.